right. Thanks for joining us today. I will give a few seconds for folks to jump in and get with us. But as we get started, I'll just go ahead and introduce myself. So hello and welcome to our webinar, Educate and Empower, How Leading Credit Unions Are Utilizing Financial Education to Engage Current and Future Members. I'm Akia with Greenlight, and I'm so happy to be your moderator today to guide us through this discussion. The solution our conversation will center on today is Greenlight for Credit Unions, which allows credit unions to leverage our award-winning family digital wallet and mobile financial education game to grow, retain, and educate their membership base. So to our panelists, we've got Sharon Eiswert, Director of Marketing and Deposit Strategy at PSECU, Chris Otey, Chairman of the Board at South Bay Credit Union, and Matt Wolf, SVP of Business Development for Greenlight Financial CUSA. And the thing is, I could rattle off so many great things we're doing with each of these folks, but that's what we're here to chat about today. So to our panelists, any questions or anything to add before we jump in?
No, looking forward to digging in.
Nice. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah. So if you could just explain to me what Greenlight is first.
Just to get started. No, so
all set.
Perfect. Before we get started, so to our attendees, I want to let you know that we are setting aside time at the end for your questions. So don't be shy. We're all friends here. As the questions come to you, just feel free to go ahead and pop them in to the chat. All right. So let me share something with you guys. We just launched a new survey. And what's kind of cool is that April is Financial Literacy Month. And at Greenlight, we just rolled out this new survey, and it aims at better understanding generational differences and opportunities for families to improve financial literacy together. And these are kind of some of the stats that stood out to me. So 76% of Gen Z teens are stressed and anxious about money. 75% of Gen Alpha kids and Gen Z teens want more personal finance education. And this is the one that kind of hits a little home to me. So Gen Z's #1 social media platform for financial questions is TikTok, followed by YouTube. Now, I am very well situated in the millennial camp, but I do find myself reaching more to things like TikTok for like, hey, show me this review, or I want to learn more about this topic to see like who else is talking about it. And then also, as somebody with a 9-year-old and a 7.5-year-old, if you would ask him, it's 7.5. I find myself living on YouTube University to solve 3rd grade math. I don't know when 3rd grade got complex, but this is it. I'm deeply in it. So I can kind of relate to this going to social media to try to figure out the best way to use technology or the best way to get solutions for things that we have going on in our world. So one of the highlights from this survey is just that both parents and kids now desire more personal finance education. So it kind of begs the question, how can credit unions effectively engage with families to meet this demand and improve financial literacy? So Sharon, would you like to start us off kind of on how PSECU is coming to terms with these kinds of questions and desires?
Sure. So we honestly feel that Greenlight has been an amazing tool to really help us to meet those needs. At PSECU, we've had youth accounts for quite a while, but we recognize the need to really take it up to the next level. So we started to look for partners last year to help us to quickly get into the financial education space for youth. We felt that we didn't really have the time to build it in-house and we needed to go outside. And we really looked at a couple different offerings and felt that Greenlight was the best suited for us. One of the biggest reasons being that it really has that hands-on component. So while there's the financial literacy, the level up game as part of Greenlight, the debit card and the associated spending controls were really important because we believe that to learn, it really requires that hands-on interaction. I'm in the thick of it. I have a 13 and I have a 16-year-old, and they both love their Greenlight card. And I spend a lot of time every day in the app, sending them money or reviewing their transactions. And it enables some really interesting conversations between us, like why did you just spend $10 at Sheetz, which is a local convenience store? And why do you do that every day? And just to engage in conversation about needs versus wants. So we really felt that Greenlight's been a great offering for us. We launched in November of last year. We've already, only 6 months in, met our membership goal for Greenlight. And we've really felt that we've hit that sweet spot with kids ages 10 to 14 and engaging with their parents, that demographic of age 35 to 49. So that's really been the tool that's been great for us to meet those needs.
That's awesome. Matt, Chris, anything from your perspective on how credit unions can engage these families and kind of meet them where they are?
Yeah, I'll go, Matt, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, so at South Bay, I've been on the board since, I don't know, 08 or so. And I have a 13 and a 16-year-old. So I've been trying to solve this problem for the better part of 4 years.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know me, I coach all the kids' youth soccer around here. So I've coached 30 some teams. And if you're a girl in the South Bay, in my part of LA, I've probably coached you. And about 4 or 5 years ago, took the girls out for yogurt, right? We won a game or whatever it was. And I noticed all of them were pulling out their Greenlight cards, right? They all had Greenlight cards. And this is a pretty affluent area, Manhattan Beach, California. And my daughters didn't have anything. And it dawned on me, hey, you know what, Chris, you're the chairman of the board of South Bay Credit Union. You should probably teach your kids about financial responsibility and financial literacy. So I set about trying to solve the problem using South Bay Credit Union. And the solution I came up with was well, first I asked the credit union to give my 9-year-old a debit card. And they said, well, we don't do that. We don't issue debit cards to 9-year-olds. And I said, well, why not? And they said, well, it's a policy. Luckily, I was the chairman of the board and still am, so I could change the policy. So I changed the policy, issued my kids debit memberships, and they had separate memberships than my wife and I had multiple logins, and it was garbage, right? It really did not work smoothly at all. And it's probably because I designed it, right? So I've been looking to solve that problem. And then when I saw all the girls pulling out their Greenlight cards, that's when I started paying attention to Greenlight. And I got them Greenlight account, got my daughter's Greenlight accounts, and they used it. And then Matt came to us and said, hey, we're looking to partner with credit unions. And I said, okay, now we're talking. Here's an actual product that's in use by millions of families around the US. What's the number, Matt? Like 6 million families using is it something like that?
Yeah.
Or am I just making that number up?
No, you're exactly right.
Because I make stuff up. So anyways, the partnership with Greenlight was kind of a no-brainer, right? It wasn't something South Bay Credit Union at 10,000 members and 150 million. We can't develop anything in-house, right? We just don't have that skill set. So I knew we were going to have to partner with somebody. And if you're going to partner with somebody, why not partner with the established player, right? I know that there's plenty of competition in this space now, right? Which is good because that validates the space. Right now, instead of having a good idea, we have a marketplace with multiple providers in it, and Greenlight's the leader. And that's why when we deployed it at South Bay, we were up and running in weeks? Right. Yeah. And the membership loves it. And the added benefit that I didn't see coming was the existing members who had Greenlight already. We were able to identify them and then offer them the service for free from South Bay Credit Union. So that got us a lot of, I don't know, Sharon, if you saw the same thing when you did that exercise, but our members that fell into that category loved it. Yeah, that was a big perk there. Those people aren't going anywhere anytime soon. They're loyal members.
I like to call it the sticky effect. It's just getting people who are already there and already excited about what you have to offer, just getting them a little bit more sticky and excited about what you guys have to offer your members.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this kind of segues perfectly into our next question, because how amazing is it for these companies like your community, for PSECU and South Bay, to be able to rely on their credit unions for additional support? And with surveys showing, like the survey that I popped up for you guys, financial stress is starting as young as 14, which to me, it's like crazy to think that now our kids are starting to get to an age where they're putting some of their parents' concerns and burdens on their shoulders and feeling it to whatever extent that they are. But in this generation where stress is starting earlier and information is everywhere, kind of schools, social media, their social circles. I mean, I can't imagine how your daughters felt, Chris, when they get to the ice cream shop and everybody's got a card but them. What does that feel like? But with all the information that's out there, with all the different ways that we can engage these generations, what are some of the approaches that have been successful at reaching them and getting them excited about learning? Chris, I imagine that environment where everybody's pulling out their Greenlight card is a fun one to kind of talk about, like, hey, what is this? I want what you have. Are there any other tactics that are kind of standing out as a way to kind of get their attention?
Well, my kids are motivated by the add-on benefits of Greenlight, right? They have their spending account and they have their savings account. But when you're giving them, when you can control their card in real time and give them money in real time and restrict it in real time, like I don't let them use it at the cannabis shops, right? But that are all over the place around here. I don't know if anybody else is seeing that, but giving them the motivation of, hey, here's some extra chores you can do to earn extra money, right? That kind of stuff is really resonating with my daughters.
Yeah. Matt, what about you? Like, I know you work with a lot of our partners and it's really hands-on. Anything that you've seen that's really working?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we are seeing this, from parents, that this is really something they're raising their hand and they're asking for. Another survey we did at Greenlight last year showed that 93% of working parents that we talked to about this said that they wanted their financial institution to be responsible for educating their kids. To our surprise, and this was financial institutions broadly, wasn't just credit unions. I'm sure credit unions would score much higher, but only 16% of those parents actually told us that their financial institution was doing that. I think a lot of it is that we know that credit unions and are doing a lot in their communities and providing a lot of resources for financial education, but maybe it's not exactly meeting the kids where they're at. And Greenlight, we've spent a lot of time. We have several hundred people working, thinking about Gen Z and Gen Alpha and kind of how they consume content and how they engage around financial products. And meeting them where they're at with kind of the kinds of content that they typically consume, and is really important. So having short form videos, animations, gamification, more tools to kind of really continually engage in, educate is really powerful. Is really powerful, I should say. And if anything, I know Sharon mentioned some of the early success they've had. But when I look at what ECU has done in just 6 months, their members are twice as likely to complete a financial education module on Greenlight than our typical 6 million direct to consumer customers that subscribe and pay Greenlight money every month. So I do think as long as you can meet them, with that relevant content and something that's engaging, Gen Z and Gen Alpha will engage, and they will retain a lot of the great tools and lessons that you're trying to get across to them.
Absolutely. Sharon, is there anything that you want to add?
Yeah, actually, that's funny because when you recently did the tropical smoothie cafe extra reward, within an hour, my daughter had completed whatever she needed to get that. So it's all about the rewards. And unfortunately, they're not really chore motivated, but that definitely helps. And I think any element of gamification really helps. One other thing that we do that's really more hands-on at PSECU is we offer something called a financial reality fair. And we actually do this with high school students. We had them actually in our offices last week. And we bring them in and we almost put them through a simulation that's kind of like the game of life, where they get a career and they get a salary, and then they have to go around and find out pick where they're going to live. Are they going to live at home? Are they going to have a roommate? What cell phone plan are they going to have? All kinds of different choices. And at the end, they meet with a financial counselor who tells them, oh, all the choices you made, maybe you don't have enough money, you have to go rethink it. Or they pass, but they are so excited during that. And it's interesting to see a bunch of high schoolers get excited about something,
Yeah,
but they love doing it and
absolutely.
they love having that hands-on opportunity and have just so much fun. So that's another element to really add to it.
That's
I
really cool, Sharon. Is that something that you have your colleagues kind of volunteer to support coming into your office? I know that PSECU doesn't have branches, so you don't maybe have some of those community touch points. So bring them
Yeah.
into your office sounds cool, but is that just kind of teammates
Yeah.
come on, or do you use a third party or anything?
No, it's all volunteer. So people within the office can volunteer for a time slot. And we did it over the course of 2 days and had a full volunteer roster. We actually had the Auditor General of PA come in and be a financial counselor too. So it's really exciting for us to be able to offer that.
Yeah, and we do the same thing, Sharon. We do the Bite of Reality program where we participate in that with other credit unions in the area. In Southern California, we have what's called the Southern California Credit Union Alliance, which was supposed to be, 30, 40 of the smaller credit unions around Los Angeles. But now it's grown into like 70 of all the credit unions in LA. And so we collaborate on that stuff. The Bite of Reality is a great one. And when you couple it with the Greenlight program and other youth initiatives, we've seen our average age continue to go down over the years, over the last 3 years. So we started 4 or 5 years ago at South Bay with, we did a video campaign where we curated videos geared towards the younger generation, the teenagers, the 20 somethings. I'm 53 years old. They're not things I would have watched, but they are. We put them out on TikTok and we put them out on Instagram. They were a little irreverent. There may have been a cuss word or two in them, reaching that demographic. And then I viewed Greenlight as just the next evolution of that, to continue to not get rid of the 53-year-olds, but to bring in the younger generation.
Absolutely. You got to reach them where they are, and everybody likes a little TikTok dance, a little challenge they can buy into. So I bet that was fun. I feel like, Chris, I'm gonna go dig through y'all's TikTok archives to see what that was about.
They're out there.
But
I'm
I do
not
think,
in them.
yeah, oh man. That's what I was looking forward to. But I do think that this almost segues perfectly into the next part of the conversation. So you guys are going to have to think of more examples. But since being a part of the financial kind of space now for the first time since I've joined Greenlight personally, one of my favorite things has been on LinkedIn, watching all the things that credit unions are doing for Financial Literacy Month and kind of seeing the different methods, seeing the different tactics that are going out, the different surveys. And while that's nice in the month of April, we all know that financial literacy, like to make an impact, it's a year-round commitment. So I know I'm curious, and I'll be having fun watching it as the year continues. But what can credit unions do to make sure that financial literacy is at the forefront of their priorities beyond the month of April? And so, Sharon, it sounds like both you and Chris have amazing things going on with like in-branch activities and getting the high schoolers to kind of come in. And I would have loved that opportunity as a kid too. That's like, okay, now I'm an adult. What do I do with this? What does this look like? So how does PSECU kind of think about it broader outside of the month of April?
Yeah, so the PSECU is digital first. We have 2 branches. So generally, a lot of our communication is digital. And we've really developed a series of communications that go throughout the year that are really seasonally focused. Plug for Greenlight, your marketing team is amazing. They have done a great job pulling together seasonal communications, messaging for us that's relevant to different times of the year, and some really easy to use marketing materials that we've loved. So we have communication for spring cleaning around chores and allowance. We'll have communication around the summer about taking your Greenlight card with you for fall on savings. So using those tools, we've really developed a series of communications so we can continue to market the product and bring that financial literacy to our hopefully new members and existing members throughout the course of the year.
That is so true. And that's so valuable. And I think it's one of those things where we're all busy these days. So if somebody else is willing to kind of do the heavy lifting for you, then hands raised, take it off my plate. Thank you. Chris, what about you? How are you seeing kind of the goal of making financial literacy kind of available for all and a priority kind of outside the month of April?
Well, I'm the chairman of the board at South Bay, so I don't actually do anything. I don't know what we're doing, right? I just set the policy. I don't actually know what we're doing, but I have instructed the staff to do more than just check a box,
Yeah.
right? Like you sit around the board meetings and someone says, oh yeah, we should focus on elder abuse, or we should focus on the younger generation or financial literacy. And a lot of credit unions will partner with, I'm not going to throw out a name there because it's throwing people under the bus, but they'll check a box that says, hey, we have this financial literacy stuff on our website. Okay, well, that's all well and good if you've got it on the website. What I think as credit unions really need to do is what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Partnering, being a true partner with your fintech provider, whether it's Greenlight or whether it's somebody else, right? Whether it's Silver for the older generation, right? It doesn't matter. You have to partner with them and co-market things, right? And you have to be willing to take the advice of Greenlight, right? In the case that we're talking about with youth banking, family banking, maybe Greenlight knows a thing or two that we don't know about marketing this service directly to consumers. So listening to your partner and working in tandem with them to get the product in the hands of your members that's usable, right? And that's one of the things that a lot of people miss is they'll put out an app, right? So at CU 2.0, we work with dozens of fintechs, right? And they all have decent apps, some of them great apps, but they don't pay attention to the end user experience, right? It has to be an elegant experience. And the more simplistic it is, the more likely it's going to get adopted. And I don't think it gets much more simplistic than onboarding Greenlight, right? And putting that in the hands of the members. That's a true elegant user experience that they have, that you guys have created there, and that the credit unions are taking advantage of.
Yeah, just real quickly to build off Chris
Please.
mentioned around partnering and co-marketing. We have a great partner in Minnesota, First Alliance. They just hosted a really fun and unique event in one of their branches, kind of themed around a carnival, the coin carnival they called it, and they had all sorts of raffles, almost like recreating a carnival but around financial education. And they were able to take Greenlight as a partner, incentivize families to also sign up for Greenlight for free as members that they had the ability to do. And they were offering free rewards, free pizza and things like this to families to be entered into a drawing. So really not just taking their branch staff and doing a lot of what PSCCU does, but also incorporating Greenlight into that as well. So, on average, credit union members, families that get Greenlight for free, they're opening our app more than once per day, whether it's to issue those chores, play the games, or just even get kids money. So it's a good way to kind of have your branch event, your community event, and then have it kind of continue on throughout the year.
Yeah, Matt, you told me something when we were at Reach, like back in November, about credit union members using Greenlight use it more than non-credit union members. Use the financial literacy piece at a higher percentage. What was that?
Yeah, and we shared a stat with PSCCU as well. But yeah, certain things like around chores and allowances, we see with a lot of our credit unions, they seem to just really take hold, which in my mind is really impressive because the credit union members aren't kind of digging into their pocket having to dig in their pocket every month and pay a subscription to Greenlight. They're getting this for free, but they view their credit union as kind of a trusted source for their financial health, their overall financial health. And I think the fact that people like Sharon, the people like Paris, at South Bay and her team are going out and doing these communications to promote it, I think have really resulted in these credit unions utilizing Greenlight a great deal across a lot of our key features, for sure.
Yeah, well, guys, I mean, I don't know how this webinar is almost over. I feel like we just got started. So I want to make sure that we leave some time for our audience to submit some questions. So if you have some, please pop them in. We've got Sharon and Chris who are so excited to kind of discuss with you and make sure that you came here. We want to make sure that you're leaving with something as well. So we did have one slide through, so I will go ahead and tee that up for you. So the question is, what difference does it make to partner with a fintech company to bring more value to your members? And I think this has already been kind of like a glowing recommendation of how it has worked for PSECU, and Chris, how it's impacted your community in South Bay as well. So I guess we could kind of spin it a little bit too, for like, what advice would you have for somebody trying to kind of explore who's out there, and explore what makes a good partner? Sharon, I'll let you start.
Sure. I mean, it was definitely a stretch for us to partner with a fintech. This is one of the first times that we've done it as an organization, and so I had to, do a fair amount of selling to get this through. But I think you need to think about financial education for youth as really an investment, because these are the members that are going to stay with you for life if you can get them to engage with you now. So we felt that that was a really important selling point of this partnership. And also recognizing from a financial aspect that the current profitability of these members that you bring in is not going to be that great, right? They're not going to have a ton of products, but they have a ton of future potential, and it's really worth investing in them. I think choosing Greenlight as partner has been great, because to try to do it ourselves in-house would have just taken us too long, and we don't have the expertise. You guys spend all your time thinking about how to engage with these age groups, and we're thinking about how to engage with every member. So I think that those are some things to consider for anybody who's thinking about working with you guys or fintech in general.
I think that's a brilliant answer, Sharon. And it's true that all of us might not have the resources right out the gate, or we might have to think about like, okay, I'm making this case, I got to sell it. And I know if anybody's in the audience today that's kind of in the similar position, this conversation has been super helpful. So while you were talking, we got another question in that I think it's going to kind of help people start putting that perspective together. So the question is, where do you start to target? So, or do you start looking at members with children? Are you going outside of your credit union to say like, there's a new audience that we've got to go grab and kind of shout Greenlight to the rooftops to, or start talking about financial literacy? Sharon, I'm curious how you guys approached it. Was it like, let's start in-house and then start trying to get our feelers out, or kind of what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, our starting point was our members that we already know have kids, the members with youth accounts, and just making sure that they know that this is like an added free benefit on us that we want to provide to them. But we also marketed this to all of our membership, because it's relevant, even if it might be, a grandchild or a niece or a nephew. So taking that approach. But we've also gone out using a fair amount of digital media, partnering with Greenlight on that to get the word out to attract new members as well. So using social media, using our landing page on our website to really direct a lot of potential new members to, and just, using all those tools to both target members and non-members. We really see this as a great opportunity to both provide a benefit to our current members and hopefully build our membership as well.
Yeah, I'll just add, I mean, Sharon and team at PSECU have really done a great job across multiple channels getting this communication out. We work with around 50 financial institutions right now, just in terms of, sharing best practices. And Sharon hit on a little bit. We recommend our partners not try to be super hyper targeted with this. Kids' financial education and teaching children smart financial habits kind of falls in that category of things like puppies and a nicer sunset. Like, people aren't going to be upset if they hear about it. It gives good feel. It's not going to turn them off. But what's great about, even if you don't have kids, what a lot of our partners have found is that it leads to a lot of word of mouth. And it could be, when you think of putting on your new member acquisition cap, I might be a grandparent, and I don't, or I don't, my kids are too old for this, but my neighbor or my friends might have this and say, hey, if you go and sign up at South Bay, or you go sign up at PSECU, you can get this complimentary that normally you pay $60 a year for instance. So it can be a great way to kind of create word of mouth and acquire new to credit union members.
Absolutely. Chris, anything to add from your perspective?
I can talk a little bit about the South Bay Credit Union experience. We have fellow board members. My fellow board members have kids the same age. right? All of the board members, where there's like 6 of us on the board that have kids around the same age, as well as our CEO has kids that age. So we kind of started there, and we started there, tested it, because we have a fail forward fast mentality at South Bay Credit Union, where we're going to try 8 new things a year, and probably 5 of them are going to fail miserably. It's those 3 things that we're looking for that are going to succeed and make us profitable, and Greenlight was one of them. So that's, and then it doesn't hurt that the superintendent of Redondo Beach Unified School District is on the board with us. So she's able to, yeah, so she's able to help us out in the schools and create awareness that way. That's the path we took for it.
Nice. And it's so powerful being connected to all these communities and all these different folks who are influential and can help make a case and can help you test these things out for you. Well, oh my goodness, y'all, this happened so fast. I've loved this conversation so much in our time together. Thank you for spending your time with us today. Sharon, Chris, we absolutely adored having you here. And to everybody who joined us, just thanks again. So we will be in touch soon to provide you with an on-demand recording that you are welcome to enjoy again, share it with your colleagues, share it with your network. But most of all, we just hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Great talking.
you.